Freedom Family Studios. I'm going live on a few different channels today. Probably the first time on a few. So, hi. Follow my page. I'm going to be working on a song for one of my projects called Conflicted Existence. The name of the song is called Safe in the Dark. Right now I have, as you can see here in the DAW, I have a few tracks that I've laid out. I've got some some synth and some drums, and today I'm working on the guitar and the bass tracks. Then tomorrow I'll probably be doing vocals, depending on how things go. So, that being said, this is my drum room and my live room. This is the guitar vocal cam. And this is inside the DAW, where all the magic happens. Today we're going to show some of that magic because I'm not the best guitar player. So, let's just go ahead and get started. Let me do a few things. In Reaper, I am going to solo defeat my vocal mic here, my talkback mic. That way, if I solo this guitar, then it doesn't cut out my vocal mic. Figured that out yesterday when I was trying to learn how to stream. Gotta have that talkback mic. So, I've got some markers set up here. You can see I'm kind of when it comes to sessions, I'm a planner. I plan stuff, but I have these two synth tracks, and I went ahead and mapped out a simple drum beat. I'm gonna replace the drums later, but I wanted the drums to be simple while we're tracking. That way, I like to put my drum fills around the vocals, so I don't like to write any drum fills until I know where the vocals are gonna sit. So, that being said, I'm just gonna let it fly and see what happens. A little nervous, my first stream, so here we go. Let's turn down those synth a little bit. And try that again. I wasn't ready. There was sun in my eyes. That is the beautiful part about recording all digitals. It's not tape. We can do it 10,000 times. I'm cool with that. If you come to record with me, you probably will do it 10,000 times. Everyone that comes here to record knows that my favorite thing to say is, that was pretty good. No, try it again. a bad first take, but it is clipping. Clipping hard. Yeah. We are going to have to do that again and turn down that guitar track a little bit. You never want digital clipping. This is bad. This is bad, okay? Let me see that. I'm going to bring down those keyboards even more. Them low synth are killing. There's not even bass on this yet. So. Here, let's, I know I'm out of tune, which, note to all guitar players, after every take, tune. This is Reatune. It's a free plugin. Use it. Okay, sorry about that. That is part of the song that's Japanese. It's called tuning. Ha! That's the oldest tuning joke I know. That note is why this song makes this guitar go out of tune. But I like that dark, artsy thing. If you can't tell, I like pain in my art. This song is about my solitude. It's called Safe in the Dark. Anyway, take two. This is the behind the scenes stuff you're supposed to watch on TikTok. I'm all feeling it and recording, and I'm still clipping just a tiny bit. So I go over here to the analog board and turn down the input gain. No clippy. Let's try that again. I'll pay more attention this time. Well, I just realized I've been turning down the wrong track. The fun with a 22-channel analog board is you may be turning the wrong knob. Okay, let's try again. Oops. I totally got into it and forgot what I was doing. What I want for this song is to almost be weightless on that. Like it lifts up and then drops back down. It's kind of hard to explain, especially to other musicians. That's why I work alone. How do you explain weightless? I want a weightless but heavy guitar part. That's why guitar players hate me. Anyway, let's go ahead and get back in the DAW and check this tuning. It's pretty much got to be out. I've been bending that note like a boomer. Not a boomer. Gen X rules, by the way. Reatune is a free plugin that you can put on your phone also. And it won't switch to some strange tuning live and leave everybody in the lurch right there on stage for you to blame it on everyone else. Fucking posers. Anywho, I'm going to turn down this gate on my vocals a little bit. Make sure you get on my lovely voice. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this again. In tune this time. probably obsess over that and do it another 300 times. Ah, that was ugly. Sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and move on to bass now for the sake of video. So, going to create a bass track. Going to put a tuner on it, which I can drag that over. Tuner. Then I'm going to put Bass Forge Heck Razor. Tail Razor. And that's pretty much all the bass sound you're going to need. Watch. I'm going to take off these headphones and grab James, my bass. Oops, sorry about that. I just plugged a bass into a guitar amp. Anyway, I'm going to let that play a little bit. Obviously, I am tuned to drop C on this song. All right, moving on to bass. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, I hadn't even worked on a bass line for this, so I'm just going to feel it. And my brother Jason's probably going to replace the bass line anyway. Sounds out of tune. Sorry about that. I did kind of rush through that. Uh-huh. Okay. Running all this stuff at the same time is pretty hard. You see these dudes on TikTok and YouTube doing it, and you think, I can do it. It's actually a lot harder than you think. Anyway. player faces. Yeah, like I said, I never really worked out a bass line with this. Just gonna keep feeling it. One more time through. Then I'll move on to vocals later. The glory of recording music is you're gonna mess up. Cool thing is there's no one watching, right? Do a camera action. Wah! Anyway, that's the song I'm working on called Safe in the Dark. I'll have it done probably by the end of the weekend, and then we'll probably put it up on streaming. The name of the band is Conflicted Existence. This is Freedom Family Studios. Thank you for joining us live. This was pretty much my first broadcast from the studio. Let's give it another tour. Hey, over there! This is my live drum room. Well, I only have one room. Besides the bathroom, which is what I call the amp room. We can put amps in the bathroom. See that over there? Put amps in that room over there. And we can get that cab sound everyone says is their bread and butter. This is the in the dock cam. Took me a long time to figure out how to get TikTok and YouTube and OBS to work together to do all this using Restream. So, I might put up some videos on how I got this all set up, because man, that was rocket science. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here, take a break, safety meeting, take a walk, come back and try it again. Much love. Follow Freedom Family Studios. Reach out to us on freedomfamilystudios.com. Peace!